Salute, Knicks Nation. Well, what did we just witness? Man, the most ugly game of the season was not on my bingo card tonight. But we're going to break this thing down. We're going to talk about how the New York Knicks lost this ball game tonight and managed to score just 73 points, dropping the game to the Philadelphia 76ers, who scored just 79 tonight. Man, they made this one an ugly affair. The New York Knicks are going to get more healthy. We've got some news to talk about in that situation, but the Knicks should not be losing these games to the Philadelphia 76ers, right? Man, frustrating. Super frustrating. I don't even know how this thing happened and how the New York Knicks let this one slip, but they did, right? It was poor defense most of the night and atrocious offense. Philadelphia made this one a scrap, right? And literally, this was a chippy affair with DiVincenzo getting into it late with Kelly Oubre, but the New York Knicks could not buy a bucket, man. Shot a woeful percentage from the field, just 32% from the field and a 22% from deep, right? Philly managed 38% from the field with 30% from deep, led by Kelly Oubre, who was the Knick nemesis tonight, but not many Knicks in double figures, right? There was a bit of effort and hustle, as usual, but boneheaded turnovers just killed the Knicks tonight, man. 19 turnovers. If that's accurate, you know, the box score may not have upgraded. There was that many, man. The scorers had to work overtime tonight, right? But yeah, ugly loss. The New York Knicks should not have dropped this ball game. Fortunately for the Knicks, though, some results went our way, with Cleveland losing to Brooklyn. The Miami Heat lost as well, and the Orlando Magic lost to the Indiana Pacers as well. So obviously it's more disappointing because we lose to Philly, who are still on our heels. But we have to bounce back and beat Philly in the next game. It's at MSG again. I'm going to talk about my thoughts on these home series games, because I think it's mind games like you get in the playoffs as well. But that's no excuse, right? As we look at the numbers, man, and give out the grades tonight, man. Poor performances. There were some issues with some substitutions as well, which I'll talk about. But simply put, man, the Knicks can't turn the ball over as many times as they did. Now, I do got to give credit to Philadelphia's defense. They obviously made this ugly. It was a scrap, but they had a clear game plan. Tonight, the game plan for Philly was to get the ball out of Brunson's hands or make it difficult for him on the drives, right? The help came immediately. Every single time Brunson drove to the cup, right? We don't see that a whole lot, but the Philly 76ers have a bit of length as well, with Batum, with Oubre. Paul Reed got loose tonight, hit a couple of open threes. The Knicks were slow defensively too on their rotations tonight. Bona fide trap game, you know, tonight, I feel, and the Knicks just weren't up to it as well. So that's on Tibbs, and that's on the whole squad, really. As we look at the numbers, man, we only had 3 players in double figures, right? Go figure. And that was Bogey with 10 points was one of them. He was 4 of 8, 2 of 4 from deep, but he turned the ball over a bit as well. But Josh Hart, 6 turnovers tonight. DiVincenzo with 4 turnovers, and Precious with 3. Brunson with 2 as well. So I never thought I'd be sitting here saying the New York Knicks scored 73 points, because as bad as we look offensively sometimes, that's super ugly. You know, I never thought we'd score, you know, a tally that low, right? And again, I've got to give credit to Philly's defense. They wanted this ball game more. All we had to do was score 80 points tonight, and we would have won, which is you know, how atrocious this night was. It was a calamity, you know, as I've got in the title, guys, ladies and gentlemen, Knick Nation. Glad you could join me, but under these circumstances, we need to bounce back, right? We've got Philly again on Wednesday, which we will, on Tuesday, sorry, which we will bounce back. I know we will, but we needed to sweep this home and home, really. I think it was a game that was gifted. No Maxi, no Joel Embiid as well, and we took them lightly. We took them lightly early. We could have ramped up the intensity defensively in the second half, but we just didn't. We tried to get a few stops late, but it was too little, too late, right? To be down 31 to 37 at the half, you're thinking, all right, it's a 6-point ball game. We've been turning it over. We're a step slow, but we're going to find our groove. Now we clawed back a little in the third. At the start, we had a good start. Brunson finished with an and one, got some free throws, hit a three. Divo hit a three, and we were down only one as well. But Philadelphia, they answered the call, and we just didn't answer back. Offensively, we didn't have it going. We continued to drive to the lane into traffic, kicking it out, but then the shooter was hesitant as well. And look, this is what you're going to get on nights, as we've seen, when Brunson is playing, but the other guys around him aren't hitting enough shots. He's going to move the ball, of course. He's always going to do that, especially when he penetrates as well. But if no one else can hit a shot, it's tough. And the Sixers, they were selling out on every possession. They were scrambling. They were rotating better than us defensively. But realistically, both teams just shot poorly. But they managed to shoot a little bit better than the New York Knicks tonight, right? So on the same night where we beat Orlando in the last game and shots were falling and the offense looked great, tonight was the complete opposite. We just could not buy a bucket early. Right? How often do you see Brunson go 1 of 9 from deep? 6 of 22, 19 points with 2 turnovers, 8 assists, 3 rebounds, right? But a critical turnover late in that game when the Knicks were trying to rush, obviously, to get the points up, right? It was embarrassing. Embarrassing for the Knicks, embarrassing for the Sixers as well, but they're extremely short-handed, more than us, and they made this one a dogfight, guys. So I'm going to talk about what I want to see adjusted, but the Knicks just have to bring more intensity defensively when shots aren't falling. OG Anunoby is basically cleared, is going to be cleared to play this week at some point. They kind of hinted that he's not going to return in the next game, but probably in the next one on the West Coast, all right, against Portland. As well. So, I mean, he's not going to answer every single issue that we saw tonight. We do see these games from time to time, but the Knicks just got to throw it in the rear view and bounce back, right? As Buzzer's asking, if you may not have seen the, highlights or anything, I don't blame you for thinking, what the heck happened, man? We took them lightly, fam. We couldn't hit shots as well, and the Sixers just made this one a real grind, man, like physical battle. And they guarded Brunson well, as we've seen. You take the ball out of his hands, other guys have to make the shots as well. It reminds me as well of the same game as Buzz was saying with the game with Trae Young missing as well. But this was worse. I mean, we officially have the lowest score of the season now after giving that to Orlando last game. So we were kind of feeling ourselves coming into this game. And I'm a culprit of that too. As a fan, I thought this thing would be a cakewalk. So I can only imagine what the players were thinking as well, that they just turn up and they're going to win. But that doesn't happen, man. When the other team was embarrassed the game before this one as well, we have to take that into account. So apparently, Philly lost by 30-something in the last game, or were down by 30-something, and the coach, got stuck into them as well. So we saw a Philadelphia bounce back. Their backs were to the wall, and they had nothing to lose. No Maxi, no Embiid, right? And we let a Kelly Oubre, a Kyle Lowry, Cameron Payne, Nick Batum beat us. I'm still shell-shocked after this. But look, I've been watching NBA basketball for a long time. I've been doing this for a minute, and nothing really shocks me in terms of, like, you could see it all on any night. We are a Jekyll and Hyde kind of team still. and especially when we're short-handed as well. But what we saw tonight is a rarity, thank goodness. You know, we don't see Brunson, we don't see Divo shoot as poorly as they did tonight very often. Miles McBride, who's been playing super well recently, 0 of 5 as well. Couldn't hit a field goal. Miles McBride, man, in 15 minutes. I thought the subs again, like I said earlier, in the third were poor. Bogdanovic, like you see on the score sheet, he wasn't going to be the answer defensively, but offensively he was, hitting more shots tonight, as we see, man. He was 50% from deep and 50% from the field, which is something we could have done with. And Bogey didn't come into the game in the third until 1 minute remaining as well. So Tibbs, again, with his third quarter substitutions, he ran the starters very, very long into that third, and he let that funk become, too much of a funk, basically. We we're pushing it uphill even further after that. Now, it was still a ball game, but it was a scrap, man. We didn't get the best looks later in the third. In the fourth, the offense just went from bad to ugly to worse in that fourth quarter, man. And still no Shake Milton as well. So, yeah. Alec Burks, 11 minutes. He was juice again tonight. Miles McBride, he gets a pass. And we're going to give out the grades, but we'll go through it rapid fire tonight because we have to put this in the review. It's unfortunate that we lose such a winnable ball game, guys, but it can happen in the league. I don't like these home and homes because it's like it's mind games, like I said, to beat a team back to back, the same team twice. It's difficult, right? Even if you've got that team's measure, you've got their number as well. Pride kicks in. And Philly are looking at these two games and they're thinking, let's just get out with one of them. And we gave them one, tonight as well. Now we have to be the ones to bounce back and be angry in the next game, man, on Tuesday before we hit the road and hit Portland as well. But a couple of other positive things that happened tonight, nothing to do with the ball game, but all the results kind of went the Knicks' way. The Heat lost, the Magic lost, and the Cleveland Cavaliers lost. So we'll look at the standings in a minute as the New York Knicks, are battling, right? We need every single win, and we need results to go our way. But yeah, as we sit here, luckily we had a little cushion on Philly. So as I refresh the standings now, we'll go to 37 and 27 as well. And I'm waiting for the standings to update. But thank goodness Orlando lost, and we're still in the 4th seed, right? Cleveland lost in the 3rd seed as well, but the Bucks won tonight, right? So we gave this one away. It was a bona fide trap game. Yeah, guys. Yeah, I see the frustration coming through in the chat. Appreciate you for coming through. Smash that like button. The New York Knicks will bounce back, but yeah, these games come up. Seems like every season. Last season it was a couple of unforgivable losses to Dallas. We threw a game away against Atlanta, being up by a lot. But tonight we didn't take the game as serious, I felt, as we should have. And I really, really switched on. Locked in Philly came in. Even though they were shorthanded, you still got to respect, every team in the league. Because we've won really, really shorthanded. And we should be the ones to know that you can't take, a wounded animal lightly as well. Because they're gonna come out angry. They're gonna come out distressed. And Philly were really physical. They really, really did try to rough us up tonight. Now to them, it sort of backfired a little bit because they, were in a huge funk as well. I mean, 31-37 at the half speaks for itself, man. I never thought I'd see anything like that watching the NBA nowadays, fam. It just doesn't happen, right? the Magic only just took that record the other night for the lowest, score of the season, and we took it the very next game from them, man. But look, both teams short-handed, and what I'm doing is I'm evaluating every game now as kind of like 70%. What I mean by that is, obviously, when you're down 3 starters, this isn't the real New York Knicks. This is the fake. This is the makeshift, and this is the temporary New York Knicks, right? OG Anunoby is going to be cleared this week. He's going to be the next Knick to get back into the lineup. Julius Randle is also going to travel with the squad on the West Coast trip as well. So, yeah, as Travel Vibes are saying, man, ugliest game ever. Straight facts. We really could have pulled this one out as well. We missed some free throws. As I pull up the numbers right now, we shot 12 of 6 from the free throw line. So we left 4 there. Brunson left 2 at the line. Precious left 1. Hartenstein left 1 at the line. Right, that would have made things a little more interesting down the stretch. But yeah, what else did you guys see? I saw poor shot selection. I saw a real hesitation to take a good look, to try to find a better look. And the better look just never came because Philly were rotating. They were really locked in and being physical as well. The referees were pretty poor tonight, inconsistent once again with the whistle. And I don't think the players could really find their way throughout the ball game. Unfortunately, it was just a game of frustrations. But we get Philly again back at MSG, right? We'll be the ones to take out this anger back on them, I feel. But we don't know if Maxey is going to be back in that game. He's out with concussion right now, so that's going to be interesting. Knicks light, yeah, great way to put it. Kind of not even as well. It's really Knicks really light. I think we're really starting to see this squad, limp in terms of they've played a lot of minutes. They get up for games like the Orlando one, which was a game that really could get you hype, to play hard, and the standings, the extra incentive to win that one. But Philly tonight, again, I kind of took them lightly as well, thinking coming in, we'll hit a couple shots, play solid defense, and we'll just get out with a dub, right? But it was pretty evident early that wasn't happening, man. 15-15 at the end of the first quarter. Both teams shooting like 20%. Now, you think like on an off night, Brunson, that someone else is going to step up, but unfortunately we didn't get that. Divo with a lot of attempts, man, 6 of 17. He was the next guy in double figures. And then it was Bogey with just 10 points, who may not have changed the game, but again, I felt Tibbs should have gone to him sooner, fam. So, with that said, man, I got to give out some grades now. Help me out, fam, as we get through it. Brunson, 8 assists. He obviously moved the rock. Tough defense tonight, tough cover. Kyle Lowry was playing hard, and they really wanted to make a statement. So, but we hold the captain to the highest of standards as well. So he is an all-star and the leader of this squad tonight. And we lost this game, and it's ugly. It's the worst game of the season. So he was 6 of 22, 1 of 9 from deep, with a couple turnovers. Was still in the plus, which is kind of insane. So was Isaiah Hartenstein, as well as DiVincenzo by 1. And Hartenstein was a plus 10, but he could only play 23 minutes, unfortunately. So he had 5 offensive rebounds. And we're going to give out iHeart's flowers. But for DiVincenzo, man, this is probably going to be the toughest grade I've given DiVincenzo. Jalen Brunson, right? With that said, man, so disappointing. He's going to get a C-. for the night, man. I can't go all the way D with Brunson. I wonder if you guys are thinking that. But the 8 assists, moved the ball, just wasn't efficient, tonight. He was fouled a lot as well. So, but ultimately this lies on the leaders, the captain of the team, to get up. Now, it is a tall task to get up every single night, but that's why you're the leader, man. You have to make sure your team does not drop these kind of games, right? And I'm not putting this just on Brunson, of course. There'll be people get worse grades tonight. Best believe that. But you know what I mean, towards, when it's starting to get out of hand, that's when you really need him to make some key plays, and really make sure that does not happen. Again, going into the half down 31-37, you kind of think, right, okay, if that wasn't a wake-up call, I don't know what is. And the squad needed to come out in the second half and basically play like a whole different team. But they just didn't. They came out looking like the same team, in the third. As I said earlier, a really positive start to the third. We got it back to just 1 point. We hit a couple threes, and I thought we were just going to go on with it. But again, Philly made this a dogfight, man. Cameron says season's over. Tony says 19 turnovers unacceptable. 100% on that. I disagree with Cameron. The season's not over, but I understand the frustrations tonight, man, after losing that. Knicks 26 champ says, why didn't Shake play? Hopefully he starts to get an opportunity. Alec Burks' minutes are really teetering. I wish I could answer that, man. I'm going to hold that against Tibbs again. I don't know if he wants a guy to practice a few times before he gets a shot, but he was pretty clear that he felt Shake Milton is going to be situational. So that's fairly puzzling. I think we need him to take Burks' minutes. I feel like he can contribute more than Alec Burks can as well. I could see this loss really coming back to haunt us, man. But as we've been discussing, as we chat offline, online as well, off stream, on stream, what I'm going to say is, health is the most important thing. So I think as long as the Knicks can get out of the play-in, somewhere in the playoff picture, and if Juju, Mitch, and OG's back in the squad, I like our chances. But man, I'm really hoping that this loss doesn't come back, to haunt, fam. But yeah, keep the buzz coming, guys. We shout you out. What did you dislike from tonight, man? It was mostly dislike, of course. But I mean, the best thing wasn't involving the game. Like I said, the fact that Magic lost to the Pacers, though, who were a little bit further behind. And then we had the Cleveland Cavaliers lose, thankfully. We thank Brooklyn for that one. We thank the team that beat Miami as well. We're allowed to keep the 4th seed right now, but we need to go on a run, fam. We still need 13 more wins out of the next 18 to get 50 wins. So we've got to go 13-5 to get to 50 wins. A little bit of frustrations in terms of the news about no news about Randall. In terms of even Ian Begley was starting to hint that it could be a possible concern why he's not been cleared to take practice contact or contact in practice, whereas OG is taking full practice contact. So with Randall, man, I mean, I'm not going to speculate, but yeah, it could go either way, man. He might not be feeling it. Surgery might be a possibility. We'll wait and see, But OG is going to get cleared this week, and we're going to really, really need him back, man. More so defensively, but of course offensively as well. He's one of the best, shooters on our squad, tonight. Speaking of shooters, man, another rough night for this man, unfortunately, shooting. But DiVincenzo, of course, was giving you effort, as like he always does, 2 steals and a block, hustling. but he does gamble at times, and sometimes it just does not pay off. 4 turnovers hurt us tonight. He was one of the culprits that was sloppy with the ball, man. One thing is to not be hitting shots, but to be turning the ball over at the rate we did, like the chat's been saying now, those two don't go together, man. They don't go well as a recipe. It's a recipe for disaster, man, in terms of shooting only, 30% from the field, and 19 turnovers as well, man. This is an embarrassing offensive night, an embarrassing night as a whole. Now, the funny thing is, we still had a chance to win the ball game, and that tells you how bad Philly ultimately were as well. They just had more shot makers tonight, and they were better defensively too. But I also put it down as well as being a little bit, sort of a trap game. I put this down to the Knicks being a little bit more fatigued as well. I mean, it's got to take its toll on a guy like DiVincenzo, who has to put up 17 attempts. He's been shooting 25, 30 attempts recently on some nights. And to wear Brunson and him down offensively, where those are basically the only guys that can truly create for themselves. It begs the question, why does not, Bogey get more minutes, or Shake Milton, Deuce McBride, 15 minutes for him, right? If the other guys aren't hitting shots, I would love Deuce to at least get more minutes, because he's going to defend, and the shot's going to come around, at some point as well. So I need I need Tibbs to start leaning on other guys a lot more if the other guys aren't having it, because fatigue is real. It's a real thing. These guys aren't going to chirp up and complain. They're not going to talk about their minutes, but I know, deep down, this is the very end, near the end of a grind season, and I feel like, you see poor shooting nights this bad, and it doesn't happen very often. You put it towards a lot of things, and some of that could be fatigue. But they were pretty good, defensively were Philly tonight, right? Again, I got to give them credit, but yeah, I didn't really like what I saw from Tibbs, and we're going to talk about that, guys. I see you buzzing about Tibbs, but what do you guys think about DiVincenzo? Right, I got to give him something very similar to Brunson, although he didn't have the assist, but he had rebounds tonight. 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 15 points plus 1, 4 turnovers though, 3 of 12 from deep, and 6 of 17. Man, my God, that was crazy. 25% from 3. Brunson 11% from 3. So with Divo, I'm going to give him his grade right now. I'm going to give him also a C minus, right? Now again, him and Brunson were in the plus, which is crazy, but barely. So that's going to give you an indication as to sort of what the other Knicks, deserve tonight as well, outside of the big man, Isaiah, who I would have loved to be able to play more minutes, but, they're still doing the load management with his Achilles, so I get it. Heading towards the playoffs, that's key to keep him healthy, to keep him fresh, as we approach, a month where, Mitch and Randall could return, man, in the nick of time. We really need their health, their production, and just to help out their fellow buddies, man, their teammates. These guys have been holding us down for a long time, right? And it's unfortunate, but yeah, some of these nights happen. It's not good that we didn't make good adjustments, throughout the game though. So that's a blip on the coaching as well, and some of the players as well. So yeah, we got some Raptors fans in the chat as well. Looking forward to seeing OG back too. Yep, thanks, man. Precious Achiuwa has been really a positive spark for the New York Knicks, and I don't know where we would be without him. Obviously, we lost R.J. Barrett, who did play a lot of minutes for us quickly. But yeah, we really need to see OG back because it was really clicking. And I kind of forgot, it was such a small sample, how the offense, how good it could look when he's back. But we got to hit on the next guy, which is Josh Hart, man. He led the Knicks in turnovers tonight. We've been praising him, man, from the rooftops in the last couple of games. He's been really big in some big wins recently. But tonight, Hart just wasn't on his game, man. There's no other way to say it. 6 turnovers, man. He was driving into the lane in the worst form and just throwing it away. Indecisive. 43 minutes, guys, for Hart tonight. 4 of 13. 1 of 7 from 3. His worst shooting night since the All-Star break. He's been shooting the ball really well since then. But tonight we couldn't hit the ocean. 3 offensive rebounds though, 11 in total. But the 6 turnovers just killed, man. We get points off 3 of those 6 possessions that we turned it over, and it's like we win the ball game even. So, I mean, yeah, 6 turnovers. You don't want to see that at all, but it happened because he wasn't decisive. Hart's been great recently when he was decisive with the ball. He wasn't afraid to hit the step back mid range, just shoot it. The Knicks had a couple of shot clock violations tonight as well, which is really my pet peeve. It's a peeve because you should never really get a shot clock violation unless the ball gets blocked in the last second. Outside of that, you should always get a shot up. You know what I mean? And it was just too much stagnation and too much, indecisiveness. He wasn't as confident in his shot tonight. And I get it when you're having to shoot a lot of shots and they're not falling. It does get to your head. 13 attempts. But again, when you're trying to play against a physical defense, it's even tougher. Right, tonight, Hart was in the -2 as well. So, I mean, Josh Hart's been balling recently, but man, yeah, you get these nights, as we've seen throughout the season from Hart. Now, 11 rebounds are factoring in that. 2 assists and 2 steals. That's kind of a given now because Hart, is always leaving it out there, right? But it's the other things we've got to evaluate. The decision making. The ability to take care of the ball and make the most of a possession. Well, this is supposed to be one of the headier players on the team, not a helter-skelter, Jekyll and Hyde kind of guy, right? I'm relying on you, Hart, in the playoffs as well. And yeah, you just got to do a better job making plays, right? Some of those turnovers were inexcusable. The one where he was just trying to just head down, tunnel vision. It's predictable. It is. Now, I like when he targets a smaller man. I got no issue with that because Hart, is 6'4", 6'5". He can overpower a Cameron Payne or, someone like a Kyle Lowry who's shorter than him. But if he's trying to, barrel into the lane with a taller guy, it doesn't end well. But yeah, man, Hart tried his heart out as always. He drew a charge in the final minutes, which kept us alive. It gave us the ball back. It was a really heady defensive stop to read Oubre that was going to, barrel straight into him. But yeah, man, I can't get with the 6 turnovers tonight, and a really indecisive, inefficient, night. So with that said, man, what do you guys think of Hart's performance, his grade, tonight? I love the rebounds. But man, once again, man, a popular grade for me tonight, C- tonight. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid going towards the D, but someone's going to be getting the Ds real quick, real soon. because yeah, we lost this one tonight, man. It's frustrating, it's painful, but 82 games, you know, and you get a couple of these stinkers throughout the season, right? We won a game where some people didn't expect us to win against Orlando, but unfortunately we used up a lot of the gas in that game, and we really came out flat in this one, right? And I think we need more bodies. I think we need to be playing more people. We need to start being more smarter and plan with these games coming up, because I mean, these guys are not robots, you know. They can go as much as their gas tank can take them, and then you're going to see some funk, right, offensively, you know. And I'm so glad to have Brunson back and that he's fully healthy, but I know deep down, like, he's playing as hard and as much as he can, you know, in terms of minutes, you know, with no Juju, no OG, and DiVincenzo's players suffered a little as well, as we saw. But man, Precious Achiuwa, as we're talking about now in the chat, I'll try to, you know, find a positive now in terms of Precious's grade as a New York Knick. You know, since coming over, it's been huge, his impact. So I'm going to bring up, you know, a grade for Precious in terms of, you know, what he's meant to the ball club, you know, since coming over, you know, as a Knick from the Raptors. You know, I'll give it an A. I mean, he's been outstanding. He's been exceptional. Blocks tonight, he got a couple. Got 2 steals, 3 blocks tonight. 8 points, was a +4 in 36 minutes. So that lets you know maximum impact. To be a plus in a loss, playing 36 minutes, lets us know that, you know, he made the most of his minutes tonight. You know, even went 1 of 3 from 3, 3 of 4 from the free throw line is solid. 9 rebounds, 3 offensive, and again the 2 steals, 3 blocks, awesome. 2 of 8 from the field, 1 of 3 from deep. But yeah, man, Precious Achiuwa makes plays, but defensively he's really been impressive since coming in. And a lot of people are saying Precious was always capable of doing this with more minutes, but it's tough to prolong that production, you know, for an extended stretch, and he's done that. So that's the ultimate compliment, man, the ultimate credit I can give, man, to go out from basically being situational with the Raps, you know, to being, you know, a real factor for us in big minutes. Lets me know that he's ready. He's ready for this bigger role. You know, in the playoffs, I hope he does get, you know, his just deserved minutes, because he's been really impactful in terms of wins for us as well. Now, him and OG together with Mitch, man, defensively, that's a killer lineup. Let's say Randall's still out. Once OG's back, if you do need to rest, you know, Hartenstein's Achilles a bit, you can keep Hart at the 3, OG at the 4, and Precious at the 5, really, as well, for some lineups as well. Yeah, we'll talk a bit more about Randall, but I'm not holding my breath in terms of when he's going to be back. I'm confident that he will be back still for the regular season and give it a go. But how he feels after that, yeah, it's anybody's guess. I'm really keeping my fingers and toes crossed for Juju. But yeah, Ian Begley's fairly plugged in, man. I mean, very plugged in. And he knows, like, you know, when a bit goes by and we're not getting any more updates, you know, it's a tough situation to be in, right? But we are going to get OG, which is big. And yeah, great to hear, man. You're happy for Precious. He's really thriving in this role. He's from the area as well. The same way RJ Barrett, you know, I guess from Toronto, and you know, him being really happy with his situation and you know and motivated to perform. We're seeing the same with Precious Achiuwa, and him and OG together as well. Like I said, I like that combo as well. If Randall, doesn't factor in by any chance, we do have some bodies that can help the New York Knicks. To win a series is going to be tough if Randall is not there, but we still have a chance. We have a puncher's chance, right, with some of these guys, and the way they're playing, right? But yeah, tonight was the worst night of the season, man. And it was tough, man. We were rolling. Before, these guys went down. Even the very first guy went down, Mitch. And Isaiah stepped up, right? He stepped up in a major way. And we're going to talk about him next. Like I said, awesome night in his limited minutes. He was a +10 in 23 minutes, right? So we've given out the A to Achiuwa, a C- to Hart, Brunson and Divo. Now Isaiah, impactful again, defensively, got 5 offensive rebounds and 5 defensive, 10 in total, 1 of 1 around the bucket. Man, we need 36 minutes of this guy against elite teams, or him and Mitch, playing a full 48 combined. So, but 3 points on a +10, 4 assists tonight as well. Made a lot of plays. Again, I just wish he could play a bit more. But again, he's really, really impactful. So, I mean, iHeart's going to be one of the most important Knicks this season. Until we get Mitch back, we don't know how he's going to look. And it doesn't seem to be quite clear. Out of all the guys that are out, Mitch's return date seems to be the one that's the most still up in the air, as well. So, yeah, man, what's up, NYC ball? We're trying to make sense of this game. I'm not trying to get too philosophical, but we took them lightly. They were against the ropes after their, poor. The Sixers were smashed in their last game, and the coach fired them up. We took this one lightly, and yeah, they made it a fight on their terms. It was a dog fight tonight, and we couldn't hit shots. And you get these trap games, right? But we might make this up by winning an unexpected game. So I try not to get too high, too low. But yeah, we still should not be losing these games, right? 100%. But we might go back and win on the West Coast against Denver. You just don't know. Sometimes it's your night. Sometimes it ain't. We might beat the Golden State Warriors over there on the West Coast as well. So you give and you get. But man, it sucks especially for the home crowd to put these kind of performances in at MSG. But I do think these guys are really tired and they're gassed. In his minutes, man, I gotta give Isaiah a B+ for his limited role. Again, the 10 rebounds is huge, 5 offensive, +10 in the +-. That lets you know we were making a big run when he was on the floor. If he plays 30 minutes, he plays 33 minutes, we probably win the ball game at the rate he was in the +-. So, yeah, man, we'll talk about Sims next, who was team worst, -18. So that lets you know, man. Isaiah, +10. The guy who spelled him, -18. So, not a great night for Sims. But that was the starting 5 as well. Appreciate the grades coming through the building. Everyone in the chat, smash that like button. Replay squad. The streets are buzzing. Also, appreciate you doing the same. And let us know your thoughts in the comment section. We have Philly again. And as I said earlier, I'm expecting us to come out and beat them down after this performance, right? We ain't going to buy into that Kelly Oubre, sort of tactic of them trying to, be over physical and try to bring us down. We got to make better decisions with the ball, not turn it over like we did. And I know shots won't we won't shoot as bad as we did. I know shots will start to fall right in the next game, but we've got to bring the intensity. We have to take every single opponent, man, seriously, because we can't afford any letdown games, man. There's 18 games remaining. If the Knicks were to get 50 wins, we've got to win 13. We've got to go 13-5 to get to 50 wins. Now, I'm starting to feel like that's out of reach now. OG could be back in the next game or against Portland. At some point this week, Thibodeau alluded to him getting cleared. He's fully practicing now. And if he's back in the next game or the one after that, I could see us going on a mini run. But yeah, 13-5 is going to be tough. I could see us winning. I could see us winning like 11 more games and maybe finishing with 48 wins. Maybe one more win than last season, given all the injuries and stuff. I think that would be a pretty fair, a fair outcome. 48 wins can still get us 4th seed. I think that's going to be a huge accomplishment for the Knicks to hold on to the 4th seed and home court in the playoffs. Given all these injuries, other clubs haven't dealt with the level of injuries we've dealt with, man. 3 starters out still all the way to this point in the season. We're about to give Deuce his flowers as well. But yeah, shout out chat. Keep it buzzing. NYC Ball says, yeah, the Bogey Burks trade is not looking too good right now. Still early, but I think it's honestly that and also the way they're being deployed. Less Burks, more of Bogey, is the key for me, fam. Now, Bogey was one of the best shooters tonight, right, on a night where we couldn't shoot. So, as I said, Tibbs made a really bad decision in the third when the offense was slumping. Bogey didn't get in until 1 minute remaining, fam. I mean, he has a tendency to overplay a lineup for a long stretch, in the first quarter and in the third quarter for too long. Yep. As M. Brown's also saying to salute, Tibbs is not using the bench. These guys are missing shots, but he has other players. Put them in, shake, and see what we can get off the bench. Yep, I echo your thoughts, man. Thanks for your comment, and I agree with it. I think Tibbs, the substitution patterns are too templated, in terms of you got to see how the game is going. In the third, right, and as I said, after that first half, you throw it in the trash. You say, okay, we're down, we're only 6. Yeah, we've only scored 31 points, but we can come out, we can absolutely blow the doors off Philly, if we come out and we're focused. But the third quarter, we got off to a solid start, but then we just went back into the funk, turned it over, passing up shots, and Bogey was thriving earlier. He only got in with 1 minute remaining. And as you said, Shake Milton, right? If you have seen enough of Alec Burks already and you still don't believe Shake Milton deserves a chance, then he's never going to deserve a chance, right? Because Burks he's playing as bad as I've seen any other Knick, in the last few years, man. Going from the Elfrid Paytons to the Fourniers of the world. I mean, Tibbs got to be consistent, right? If he benched those guys, Burks is playing equally, as bad as those guys. Fournier, Payton, some other guys I can't remember right now, but I mean, Cam Reddish and all the guys that he benched, Kemba Walker. I mean, if he's still rocking with Alec Burks, man, that's some mad trust right there, because Burks has not done anything to repay that right now, man. We're about to give Burks his grade as well. As Cameron also echoing, yep, appreciate that. Don't understand why Tibbs is playing Burks as well. But as a signal of how bad this night was, a guy who's been shooting really well, Deuce McBride, 0 of 5 from the field in 15 minutes, was playing good D, 1v1, but as a team, our defense was bad. We were slow rotating. and we're giving up too much dribble penetration as well. Now, they were short-handed, but after having seen the game now, I could kind of understand how they were able to win, because you look at the experience of Kyle Lowry. Tobias Harris has been a focal point throughout his career, right? He can score on given night. And then you've got, some role players like Kelly Oubre, Reed stepped in, Nicholas Batum, Buddy Hield, he got loose for a couple of shots, which I think changed the course of the game. We let Buddy Hield, get loose too many times. But, Deuce McBride, again, he gets a pass, but poor night tonight. He's been playing well recently. But look, yeah, he gets a pass, but he's been playing well recently, but poor tonight as well. Like many of the other Knicks, he'll get a C-, right? Pride is going to kick in. We'll bounce back, right, in the next one, right? We lowered our standards tonight. Basically, we let them keep it ugly, really. Before we hit on Sims and Burks, we've got to hit on Bogdanovic. So he hit some shots, as we said earlier. He should have played more minutes. 18 tonight. Now, I get he was a little careless with the ball as well. Now, maybe that's why Tibbs didn't go anymore. But 2 turnovers, that's not enough to completely bench him. Considering Hart had 6 turnovers, Divo had 4. Bogey was still efficient, and you need the floor spacing. We've seen the Knicks able to grind out some wins, but we've still seen that the starting five's ability to stretch your defense out is poor when you're playing with 3 bigs or 3 non-spacers with Hart, Precious, and Isaiah, right? So I would love to see a little bit of mix and match, and maybe keeping either a Hart with the bench and putting Bogey in and sprinkling that in, or just try to get a substitution of a starter out sooner and get Bogey in earlier, is what I would love to see, man. David says, don't worry about the 50 dubs. Get healthy, build chemistry, and avoid the play-in. Yeah, I agree, I'm sort of merely just looking at what's required to get to 50 wins. But yeah, I don't think it's likely at this point. I predicted 48 wins at the start of the season. That was my preseason prediction. And that's one more win than last season. So it's still an improvement. But it's really ultimately how we do in the playoffs, like you say. Get to the playoffs healthy. And we have a better chance at going, further this year as well. As we echo once again, OG Anunoby is soon to be cleared this week. Is either going to play next game or against Portland. So Tom Thibodeau alludes to. He's just got to get cleared. If he doesn't get cleared in the next 2 games, then there's got to be some kind of setback, because he's fully healthy, he's practicing, and he's taken contact. So there's just no excuse why they're not putting him out there as well. Now, I had a little bit of a conspiracy theory heading in before the game. And once I found out yesterday that OG wasn't going to be playing because they ruled out OG yesterday, I thought to myself, maybe they're just saving him for the second leg of the Philly matchup, because beating a team twice in a row head to head is tricky, because teams make adjustments and things like that. And I thought that would be a perfect adjustment. You beat the doors off Philly in the first game with no Maxey, no Embiid. And then if Maxey does or does not return, you bring back OG Anunoby for the second game as a good adjustment. And I think that could be enough juice. I thought that could have been enough juice to get both games, but we dropped this one. But look, OG Anunoby is going to be huge coming back. We go as far as the basically the starting 5. When it's fully activated, I think that's what's going to give headaches to any team in the playoffs. And Brunson's going to be the best the player to benefit the most in terms of offensively with the floor spacing, and not having so much attention, drawn onto him. But yeah, look, turned it over a couple of times, was careless with the ball, but was getting to his spots. Hit a couple threes, hit the shots. We needed a little bit more of bogey in this game, so I'm going to go C plus in his role for the night from Bogdanovic. Now, I'm still waiting to see more of that game in Philly, where he put up 19 points and a half. But right now, he's not getting enough supply, and he's been a mixed bag when he has gotten, more shots and more of the offense as well. Now, he needs to be better defensively, but tonight, yeah, he needs to take care of the ball more. Maybe Tibbs would have kept him, on the floor a little bit more, if he didn't, turn it over twice. So yeah, that was bogey, right? In terms of the trade, man, like NYC Ball was saying, I think, it hasn't lived up to the billing right now, but there's still ways to go, like you said. The playoffs are still, on its way, and that's what the trade was also made for. Yes, it was to help us win ball games now, and that hasn't really lived up to the billing right now. We've won a couple games we didn't expect to win, but we've lost a couple games that we should have won, and they've been inconsistent. Like Burks has been a no-show. He's been consistently bad, but Bogey has been inconsistent, man. So with that said, the next player in that trade, Alec Burks. I'm at the stage, guys. I'm honestly surprised he's playing this bad. Like, I really am. Like, I didn't expect him to light up the world, but I didn't expect Alec Burks to look this bad after this long. It's honestly been 12 games now, 13 games, I think, somewhere around there. His minutes seem to hover around 11, 12. The other night he played 5 as well. Not as bad shooting tonight, but I mean, nothing great, nothing good, nothing that we hope to see from Alec Burks. Giving us some creation, some juice off the bench with offense. We need that more than ever. It's a lot of pressure on all the other guys, but Burks has been a non-factor, man. We could have been playing Malachi Flynn all this time, and it wouldn't have been any difference, right? Let's say we traded Grimes for Bogey, or we did that one half of the trade, and picks or whatever, and we had kept Malachi Flynn, and we didn't get Alec Burks. It would be no difference, man. And that's been a complete bust for Alec Burks coming back. I'm at the point now where I won't be surprised if he comes out and has a solid game here or there, but I don't expect it to be a plus anymore in terms of what I've seen. Alec Burks is not going to be a big factor. I think a 12, 13 game sample is enough to say scrap it, scrap his minutes, cut the minutes a lot lower. Give Deuce McBride a bit more minutes. Give Shake Milton, some minutes. But look, guys, if we can hold on to 4th seed, as you're saying, man, getting 4th seed would be big. But health is even bigger than that. Exactly. You don't want to risk being in the play-in, and then you're in another dogfight where you don't know if you get the short end of a call. A guy has an off night, Brunson doesn't shoot well, and you could be eliminated, man. So that's scary to think. But I don't think it's going to happen, right? I know a lot of people are worried. Could the Knicks fall into the play-in? And we'll look at the standings in a minute. We won't linger on this for too long after we've given Tibbs a grade. But yeah, I do think that the Knicks will hold on to a playoff spot. I think there's enough juice left to grind out some wins. There's some easier games coming up, although nothing's easy like we see tonight. But there are some easier games. I think that the Knicks should be able to get a dub. And like I said, some things in the standings and the schedule just don't make sense, right? You beat the brakes off of Orlando and you make them the lowest scoring team of the season. And it's a game where some Knicks fans didn't expect us to win. And then the very next game, we blow a game that you're absolutely expected to win. And we become the lowest scoring team of the season. So it's like, as I said, some things cancel each other out in the playoffs, in the regular season, right? You pull off the most unlikely expected wins, and then you also pull off some of the most unexplainable, inexplicable losses, yeah, as well. It's on the players, it's on the coaching, and adjusting. The Knicks could have made adjustments at halftime, which could have still allowed us to grind this one out, but the second half was just more of the first half, right? And it just wasn't enough, man. And we give Alec Burks his grade, man. He's been getting a bit of these recently, and for his role as well, he'll get another F, right? I'm done with the Burks minutes. I'm done with that experiment. Next game, I would love to see a Shake Milton revenge game against Philly. That's his former team. Players do get up to play their former teams. He's younger. He's more athletic. He's a better defender from what I've seen. I've already seen enough of Alec Burks now to know what I'm going to get. I don't think it's rapidly going to change. I don't think, after 12, 13 games, it's all going to click as well, because we have enough. We have another option. We have bodies. We have Deuce. We have Bogey. We could play Hart more. We could play DiVincenzo with the bench a little bit more. Right, the OG's returning soon. We don't need to be wasting these minutes on an Alec Burks. Right, I'm done. I'm done officially with the Alec Burks minutes right now. Now keep him on ice. You might need a guy to come in, give you some minutes later in the stretch of the season, and then the playoffs possibly later if there is injuries. But as of right now, I think the Knicks have enough, guys. Home court's really important. David says, I have confidence in the team even if we start the playoffs without home court too. We did it last year. Yeah, we showed that we can ultimately grit. We can be the team like Philly tonight where you're an underdog, you're shorthanded, and you pull off a win like we did in Cleveland last season. Unfortunately, though, where I don't have as much confidence is in Tom Thibodeau to push all the right buttons. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm saying I don't have a lot of confidence in it. I love to be wrong. It's all going to depend on him overplaying the starters and them just getting it done for us, willing the squad to wins, right? We don't need a whole lot of bench production if Randall and OG, Hart, Mitch, DiVincenzo, Brunson are doing most of the legwork, right? The wins and the losses are really going to come off the back of those guys, essentially. But with that said, our bench is going to get even stronger if Hart and Precious Achiuwa go back to their original role, off the bench, and their minutes are going to decrease, which is going to be sad to see for Precious because he's deserved all of his minutes. But that's just the nature of the team, the hierarchy right now. I mean, OG and Randall are your starters, but it also helps the Knicks because he's not going to be overplayed. He's not going to be too tired. And I think we could get the best of Precious Achiuwa as well in smaller minutes. The numbers might not be as high, man. But get on my level, salute. We didn't see Shake Milton. I've been waxing lyrical about it. I want to see him. I want to see him play against Philly in the next game. Alec Burks is not giving us anything, man. A traffic cone, a mannequin, could be giving us the same thing that Alec Burks is, in 11 minutes. And I'd love to see Shake Milton, get that shot, man. As we move on to Tibbs, Burks gets the lone F in terms of the playing squad. Um, Now we've got to hit on, Jericho as well, real quick. As I said earlier, man, Jericho Sims did not have a great night, man. In the box score, minus 18 in 22 minutes. The polar opposite of Isaiah, the guy that he was sharing the minutes with. 0 of 5. That was McBride. Sims was 2 of 3 from the field, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, but a minus 18. So, yeah, I mean, he did some things in the box score on offense and rebounded. So maybe not as bad as initially thought, but I thought defensively that's when we struggled the most, right? First half, he was actually a live body. He was, getting some boards. He had a nice jam put back. But yeah, man, defensively, we've got to be better with those minutes. Minus 18. And considering quite a number of the starters were in the plus still, and it wasn't a big loss, it was 6 points. Well, so how are you down 18 in a 6-point loss? I think we were poor rotating, and that's when they were splashing some threes. Yeah, as well. Yep, no worries, man. Appreciate you for coming through. Let us know your thoughts. What did you see from tonight, man? I'd love to get your thoughts on where to from here, man. Are you confident the Knicks can get the playoff spot? We're going to get healthy. We're going to get some people back. But tonight, man, the Heat lost, Orlando, and the Cleveland Cavaliers all lost, which is big. Pacers beat Orlando, but the Pacers a little bit further back. As I give Tibbs and Sims their grade, I'm going to give Jericho a D plus for his performance. Right, did some nice things in the stat sheet, but ultimately his impact on the game and in the minutes that he was in there, the team was struggling. Right, so we were poor defensively for most of the night though as well. So not just on Jericho. I mean, most people escaped with a C minus, D, F tonight. But look, this is just for the night, man. People will bounce back. Sims isn't, really banking on playing that many minutes, right, when we came into this season. But the way Tibbs is handling the rotation, I got some issues with his substitution patterns, which I talked about before. You got to have the team up to win these ball games as well. You got to adjust in the second half, and you got to make better subs in the third quarter. So, with that said, man, Tom Thibodeau will get a D, right? I won't be mad if anyone gives Tibbs an F, right, tonight as well. But players got to play too. Players got to play, but the coach got to make right calls. Right adjustments, right? Riding some guys too many minutes and underplaying guys too many minutes as well. But look, Nick Nurse, a lot of people got some thoughts on Nick Nurse and what he has been doing in his career. Nick Nurse is a guy who does get under my skin a little bit, but you could tell that he really is a good communicator. He gets out after it, and he definitely does make adjustments. I think that's the biggest thing as a coach. You got to be able to make adjustments, right? As we see throughout an 82-game season, not everything goes your way. Now, as I pull up now the results from the night, we'll shout you guys out. Let us know. Again, keep it buzzing. Smash that like button. As I said earlier, the Bucks won, but the Magic lost to the Pacers as well. So the Pacers are still behind the Magic. So that was the best thing possible for the Knicks. The Washington Wiz, man, 11th win of the season. Congrats to them, man, beating a play-in prospect, the Miami Heat, 110-108. So fortunately, we're still ahead of the Heat. Atlanta lost, beautiful. Cleveland got punked by Brooklyn, right? and pick up their 23rd loss, right? So we're only 4 losses, even with our loss tonight. We are only 4 losses off the Cavs, right? We don't know how long Donovan Mitchell is going to be out, right? If OG comes back and we go on a run, we can still catch the Cavs, right? And then, of course, man, I mean, I need glasses because I don't think I'm seeing this correct. The New York Knicks scored 73 points, man. Even though I just watched the game from full, I still can't believe it. I can't believe what I saw tonight, man. It was a calamity and the worst game of the season. As now we pull up the standings, right? We take a look and see where we're at, right? Still 10 games over 500. Guys, salute. We here in the 4th spot, right? Holding on by half a game on the Orlando Magic, who thankfully lost tonight by the Pacers. Sixers, though, they come back. We were 2 games ahead of the Sixers heading into the night, and now we're only 1 game ahead of the Sixers, right? And if you thought they played hard tonight, think how hard they're going to try to play in the next game back at MSG once again, right? Now, I don't think lightning can strike twice in this case. I think the Knicks, I mean, there's no way around it. The Knicks better bounce back, right? If the Knicks are serious about finishing in the playoffs, they better bounce back and beat Philly. Now, if OG's kind of questionable, they might fast track OG. They might fast track him back for that game. Or maybe that was the plan, like I thought before. A nice adjustment to hopefully beat Philly in the first one, and then you bring OG for the second one. But we have no choice. We have to hit shots, so we have to defend better. We have home cooking. There's no excuse. Now, the other thing that motivated Philly tonight was the fact that the New York Knicks beat Philly in their building, right, twice as well. So you know they came in juiced up tonight. Well, think about if they had Tyrese Maxey as well. We had more talent tonight. You know, it was inexcusable. But the way they defended Brunson, they deserve credit because they trapped him, they swarmed him on the drives. They did foul him a lot. And the referees stunk. They let it go too physical tonight, and it got chippy. And that's what happens. David M says, Tibbs' coaching style has got a ceiling. He can get a team to the point where it's competitive, but he hasn't shown he can get a team to the promised land. I think I agree with a lot of that, man. I think in terms of the sample of what we've seen, I think it's still possible Tibbs can win with a team, but it's all in the talent, right? If it's a team like this, it's probably missing one more all-star to win a chip. He's getting this club to probably the top, to the best it can get to, right? You know, like the Bulls, you know, they rode Derrick Rose on offense. They were limited, you know. Now the Knicks without OG and Randall, we're very limited. If we bring in one more all-star, Tibbs could probably still get us to the finals. You know, but look, playoffs is really going to be how I'm judging Tibbs this season again. He's got a roster, if it's healthy in the playoffs, that he should have enough weapons to make, you know, the right calls. And yeah, I agree, man. I kind of want us to be the team to eliminate the Heat as well. But I guess thinking more about what could have been tonight as well. If the Knicks had won with the Cavs losing, we would have drawn within 3 games, right? It's 4 games right now, but it would have been 3 games if we had beaten the Sixers tonight, right? So we missed that opportunity, unfortunately. But thankfully, the Magic also lost. The Sixers get a little bit closer, but we are still, teetering on a 1-game lead out of the play-in right now. If that isn't enough motivation to turn up, then I don't know what is, fam. Neymar, man, I think OG is 50-50 for the next one, but I think he's more likely going to return on Thursday against Portland. So yeah, I think he's going to be maybe questionable for the next one, maybe a game time decision, but he'll definitely be back by Portland or SAC. I think Tibbs confirmed he's travelling with the team on the West Coast, and so is Julius Randle, and so is Mitchell Robinson. So maybe they're going to be the ones to surprise everyone and fast track Randle. Who knows? But I think OG is going to return either the next game, Portland, or the one after. I think this week. Yeah. So yeah, if OG doesn't return this week, it'll be because of some setback. Because he's basically right at the point where he's about to get clearance. He's about to get cleared. So yeah, man. I mean, bittersweet night because things went our way outside of the game, but we lost the unthinkable game. But we still hold on to the 4th spot, 10 games over 500. Now, things are crazy in this league. We might go on a 4-game win streak right now, and you know, we don't look back, right? We hold on to the 3rd or the 4th spot, or we start dropping more games, and we're knee deep in this in this dogfight right now, man. But yeah, I'm not afraid of the Pacers or the Heat. If the Sixers get Maxey and Embiid back, that's going to be a 6 or 7 game series. Best believe that. We don't really match up well against Embiid, although I do have confidence we can get it done. But the Magic, yeah, we beat them last game. That was cool. We did empty the tank, I think, in that game. The Cleveland Cavaliers, look, if we could finish 5th, they finish 4th, we could still upset them. I don't think they're going to fall that much, though, with only 18 games remaining. They're 4 games clear in the 3rd spot, so I don't see the Cavs falling too much and other team making a big run. We'll do the next show where we'll go through these other teams' schedule as well. I want to see who the Magic play, right? Because that's going to be crucial. They're only half a game back. We're done playing the Magic. They beat us 3 times. We beat them once. That's the season series done with the Magic. And so we don't get a chance to beat them again before the playoffs commence, right? So if the playoffs were to start right now, it's going to be a Magic Knicks series, man, a throwback. But the New York Knicks have home court. It's all about health. I'm more concerned about how Randle and Mitch are going to look and when they're going to be returning. There seems to be less clarity. But with OG, Tibbs was basically pretty clear that he's hoping he's going to get cleared next game, and he's going to come on the West Coast trip as well. So if he's hoping to get cleared next game, it's going to be this week at some point, with 3 weeks, 3 games coming up. But we let this one slip, man. We lost to Atlanta. That was a inexcusable loss. Bounce back against Orlando. Inexplicable loss again against Philly. So will the real Knicks stand up, man? We're Jekyll and Hyde right now, and I know we're shorthanded. But Philly kind of gave people a blueprint, and we've seen it a little bit this season. If you can neutralize Jalen Brunson's impact from scoring the rock, then it's going to be tough, right? DiVincenzo can't always be Robin every night, right? It's a lot of pressure, to put on him. And we know Hart's not offensive-minded, nor is Precious, nor is Isaiah. You're either going to have to start trusting Bogdanovic a little bit more to give you a bit more offense, or you're going to have to play amazing defense and lock down, I'm talking like lockdown teams, right? And I know we held Philly to 79, but a lot of those, they were bricking. They were getting wide open looks. They just don't have the talent tonight to really hit the shots, right? They had a ragtag squad. But if they had Maxey and they had Embiid, man, we would be in trouble. We would have been in more trouble tonight, with those guys. So, I mean, man, I want to throw this one now in the trash because I want to forget that it ever happened. The New York Knicks lost 73 points to 79. We've seen crazy losses like this before, and in a long grind season. But what is the most important thing now is the next game, right? Forget about this one. Think about the next one and make sure you don't drop that one, and make sure you beat Portland, in Portland. That's going to be a big game as well. Portland are no slouch, They've been able to beat some good teams. They've been able to hang as well. They've been able to beat some squads. They've got some players that can fill it up as well. So we need to take this game to game, right? Hopefully OG Anunoby is back in a Knicks uni for the next game against Philly. It would be a great surprise. I think he's going to be 50-50, questionable. I'll be surprised if they rule him out early like they did yesterday, unless there's been a setback, which we haven't heard nothing about that. So expecting OG to be back in the next two, either next game or Portland, I think is the most realistic factor, fam. But look, the Knicks are in fourth, holding on, man. We live to fight another day, but we can't afford any more of these slip-ups, right? Otherwise we'll be battling for the 6th, 7th spot right now. Now the good thing is there's still 18 games left. The Knicks' fate is in our hands, right? How healthy do we get? How good do we play? It's all in our hands, man. We could finish as high as third still and win 50 games if we can get on a roll, right? We've seen what we look like with OG Anunoby. Maybe he is the savior of this season and we just don't know it yet, right? We look like a different team when he is defending and he is shooting as well. Like the chat was saying, I agree. I think OG Anunoby is a huge factor, right? Even in Randall's absence, he can play the 3, he can play the 4. Precious Achiuwa has been playing so well recently that we might just be able to scrape out some wins still without Randall, right? But we'll find out on the next game. We'll be live again post-game after Philly on Tuesday. Let's get it on that one. In the meantime, man, get some rest, peace, health, happiness, and I will see you soon.